G'day guys, I'm Matt Brand, and this is a full in-depth review of the 2020 Hyundai i30 Fastback N. Now, as always, we will start by taking a look at the exterior of the i30 Fastback N, then we're going to move on to the interior, and of course, we're going to see how it drives, and finally, we're going to end on, should you buy one? And if you are new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. I release a new awesome car review every single week. And if you do enjoy the video, please do like the video. It really helps the channel out. So let's just get straight into it. So starting with the exterior, and I absolutely love the looks of this i30 Fastback N. The front looks like pretty much every other i30 out there, except it does have a little bit of an extra grille down the bottom. You get the N badge down there, which stands for Namyang and the Nürburgring, where the car was developed and conceived and made and loved. The headlights are a little bit boring, but they will be replaced with the upcoming facelift later in the year or early next year, whenever it's coming out. And again, if you want to see that as soon as it comes out, do subscribe to the channel. Speaking of the headlights, so they are a little bit annoying. They are LED on low beams and high beams, except the high beams is kind of close to useless. Just like almost every other Hyundai out there, the high beams leave a little bit to be desired. They're not the end of the world, and it doesn't matter for, you know, driving around the city, but anywhere else it's pretty useless. Moving on though, and down the bottom we do have a little front lip spoiler, and it's nice because it has that little red highline on it. It helps to break up the paintwork between the performance blue and the black and the red. It's a really cool look. Overall, I absolutely love the front. And then moving on to the side with a little bit of horsepower to go with it, I think the side is the coolest look ever. It's so damn nice. Of course, this is the Fastback, and I'm glad they haven't gone with anything like the Grand Coupe, and I did review the M235i Grand Coupe a week or two ago, so you can click up there to watch that one, but it goes with Fastback, and this is definitely a Fastback. It's cool, swoopy, I love it. Down the bottom are the 19-inch wheels, which I think just look absolutely magnificent. Again, the way they contrast with the performance blue paint is just, it's a work of art. I love it. And then at the back, you have the absolutely iconic ducktail spoiler that really just helps to complete the design. And it looks so nice, especially with the black at the top. Oh, it's such a beautiful look. Personally, from the side, I think it actually looks better than the hatchback, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you prefer the looks of the i30 Fastback N or the i30N hatchback? Comment down below right now. And then moving on to the rear, and again, beautiful, absolutely stunning. At the rear, the taillights do look absolutely beautiful. They do look very similar to the BMW M235i that I reviewed, and that's not a bad thing. Of course, you have a massive rear diffuser down the bottom, which helps give it a really sporty, like JDM look. The beautiful ducktail spoiler is on full display, and then down the bottom, you have a red accent on the rear diffuser, and of course, you have the dual massive exhausts, which sound absolutely gorgeous. Take a listen for yourself. Now, my girlfriend absolutely hates the way that these exhausts just drone on when you're in the N mode or custom mode and you've set it to exhaust at full sport. But let me know what you guys think. I love it. I love the sound this car makes. And that's really the whole value proposition of this car. Smiles to dollar ratio is huge. So yeah, comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. I love the exhausts. Oh, also, I love the Fastback font. It does take a few design cues, especially from the Veloster, but that's not a bad thing. I think it really is a beautiful look. Definitely gives it a European sort of vibe. I can't stop smiling. I cannot stop smiling. Woo! Woo! Oh my God, it's so much fun. All right, let's get into the interior. And of course, we're gonna start with the good. Number one is the overall look, layout, and ergonomics of the interior. It is a really, really nice, premium looking place to be. Emphasis on the looking, we'll get into the bad shortly. It's just really well laid out, and you do not feel like you are in a cheap car at all when you are sitting in here, because it just looks so nice. I love the red highlights you get all across the interior, from the air vents to the steering wheel. And fun fact, the i30 Hatchback, N hatchback, it gets a blue interior. And as I said, the ergonomics in here is fantastic. The steering wheel has loads of adjustability. The seat has reasonable amounts of adjustability. The armrest is perfectly placed for my arm to rest on the steering wheel, as is the center console here to shift the gears. It's really good. Number two is the steering wheel. And for all my long-term subscribers out there, you know how much I care about my steering wheels, and this steering wheel is absolutely awesome. It's so comfortable in the hands, it's just not funny. And it is incredibly functional. On the left, you have your media controls. On the right, you have your cruise controls, and also the controls to control the Supervision cluster. And then not only that, on the steering wheel as well, you get your drive mode selector buttons, because there are two. On the left, you have your drive mode button, which goes between eco, normal, and sport. And then on the right, you have your flag, your race flag, which changes it between N mode and custom mode. I constantly drive this car in custom mode because you can set up almost 2,000 different ways that you want to have your custom mode. Between steering, electronic limited slip differential, throttle response, suspension, and the list goes on. It's such a great steering wheel. And number three is the Supervision cluster, which, if I have ever heard it, is the most marketing term ever. It is, of course, just your instrument cluster, but it is called a Supervision cluster because it does have a large tachometer on the left, you have a large speedometer on the right, and then in the center you have a really functional LCD display. Now, of course, it would be great if these were digital displays, but they're not, and I can live with that because the LCD display in the center is incredibly functional and I have no issues with it at all. And really cool is at the top, when you do get up to red line, the lines go from orange to red to let you know when to shift and flash. It's a really sporty, cool look. Excuse me while I give it some punch. Whoa. Oh, I love this car so much. I've gotten chills. Okay, number four is the infotainment screen. I really like Hyundai's infotainment screen. It's kind of a no frills thing. It's nothing incredibly spectacular in many ways, but it is incredibly functional. You have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, which is really all you need. Of course, you get digital radio, you get navigation. It's very fast, responsive to the touch. It's fantastic. I hate the fact though that it doesn't have a home button. So you can't just go back to the main menu easily at all. And I don't understand why. Kias have it, so why don't Hyundai's? It's the exact same screen. Hopefully they fix that. It does also have N mode gauges, which shows you a whole bunch of different driving dynamics, from G-force to how many kilowatts you're pulling out at any time. It's cool. And then number five is the air conditioning controls. They just work really, really well. There are admittedly a lot of buttons on it and they could probably simplify it, but the fact that it is really easy to use and clear, big thumbs up. Now let's get on to the bad, and number one are these seats. Now, it's not that these seats are inherently uncomfortable. In fact, they're pretty damn comfortable. The issue is that they feel so cheap. Now, you can option the car with a luxury pack that does give it, amongst many other things, nice leather automated seats. But as it currently stands, these are very cheap feeling cloth seats that have limited adjustment and are completely manual adjusting. No lumbar support.
It takes a big guy to know he's wrong, and yep, it has lumbar support. I'm an idiot. It has lumbar support.
And honestly, the leather and suede seats that you get in the luxury pack are just substantially better. So not a big fan of these seats. And then number two is the interior materials in here. As I said, the look, layout, and ergonomics are great, but the materials that they use in here are just awful. Now, yeah, I guess they have to be cheap somewhere, but they've really cheaped out on the interior materials. They are like a hybrid between a pretty hard and relatively cheap and nasty soft plastic. And everywhere, up here, just everywhere you touch it, it makes my skin crawl. It's really nasty plastics. Of course, not everywhere. The steering wheel, as I said, is fantastic. The armrests are soft enough materials, so the places you touch the most are good. And I will admit, this shifter here is a pretty nice shifter. It shifts really, really well, and it has a funny dead ahead on the gear knob, which is weird. It's not like you need to know where your dead ahead on the gear knob, it should be on the steering wheel, but whatever. It's a cool look and it feels good in the hand, but everywhere else, cheap. And then visibility is just poor. It's pretty poor visibility inside of this car. There are huge A-pillars, B-pillars are okay, and then at the rear, because of the fastback style, you get a pretty narrow window in the back. But overall, with the interior, I think it's really, really functional and just let down a little bit by the cheap materials, but I guess it is a relatively cheap car. We'll get into that soon. So what about the back seats? They're okay. Legroom is okay. Headroom is a little bit robbed because of the sloping fastback design, but it's nothing too bad, and you can easily carry 4 adults in this car comfortably. 5 might be a little bit of a stretch. Not that that's unexpected for this class. Woohoo! What is great though is the massive 436 liters of boot space. There is plenty in this car. It really is massive and is one of the big reasons I would get it over the hatch, which has less boot space. Now, admittedly, a lot of the functionality is robbed, and it is robbed by the bracing bar you do get in the i30 Ns of any sort, the fastback or the hatchback. Yes! So if you want a flat loading bay, this is not the car for you. But enough talking about the car's practicality. How does it drive? Oh my God. Honestly, this car is a hoot to drive. And as I said, the smiles per dollar value of this car is unbeatable. For a new car anyway. So the i30 N, it comes with a 2-liter 4-cylinder inline turbocharged engine, and it pumps out a really healthy 202 kilowatt of power and 353 Newton meters of torque. However, there is an overboost feature that puts it up to 378 Newton meters of torque, and that's between 1750 and 4200 RPM for 18 seconds per gear, and that means that you pretty much always have overboost. And weighing in at just 1,429 kilos, the i30 Fastback N has one of the best power to weight ratios in its class. Now, all of that power is sent through to the front wheels, through, of course, this 6-speed manual transmission, and there will be a dual clutch transmission coming sometime at the end of this year. So make sure, again, you are subscribed so you can see as soon as I test that car. But there is one kind of issue, and that issue is that the car comes with Pirelli P0 tires, and the Pirelli P0s are just, they're not very great tires. For some reason on this car, you cannot floor the car and not get pretty awful wheel spin. And it's weird because the Hyundai Veloster Turbo that I reviewed comes with Michelin Pilot Sport 4s, or however you call those tires, and they were so much more grippy than these ones. These should come with those Michelin tires, and they don't. Here's what I mean. Oh, it's just so, like, it hurts me to my core. And honestly, you just don't get this issue in a lot of other rivals. It's not that there is so much power that this car couldn't control it if it had the right tires. It could, but it can't just with these tires. Doesn't matter how warm the tires are, it never properly grips. Apart from that, the i30 Fastback N is 7% more aerodynamic than the hatchback. And that means that the 0 to 60 mile per hour time is 6.1 seconds. 0.1 of a second faster than the hatchback. And in everyday driving, that's not really noticeable, but I can tell you what, this car is fast. It pulls really hard. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. The i30 Fastback N also gets a better suspension setup than the i30 N hatchback. It is actually softer suspension. Yes. It's a softer suspension. That means you get a better quality ride, and the turn-in is really, really good. It is helped by the electronic limited slip differential too. And so it is so planted. It is such a planted car. And it does have adaptive dampers, and you don't get that in so many other cars in the class especially. It's usually a pretty expensive option. Comes as standard in the i30Ns. And when you put it between its 5 different drive modes, it changes its suspension through 3 levels. So when you put the car into N mode, it is super planted. But when you want it to be around town, you put the car into normal and the car just becomes a whole another beast. It is incredible. Also, turning is really helped because it's only 12 kilograms heavier than the i30N hatchback. However, 12 centimeters more length is over the rear wheel, so you get more weight over the rear wheels, and therefore it just has a better weight distribution. So it actually handles in quite a few ways better than the i30 hatchback. In fact, it just performs overall better than the i30N hatchback. And that's not to say the i30N hatchback is substantially worse, not at all. The differences you wouldn't even be able to tell. But maybe on a racetrack, those 12 centimeters and 12 kilograms and whatever would make the difference. To summarize the driving, the i30N Fastback is absolutely incredible. So the question you want to know is, should you buy one? Look at my face. Look at my face. What do you think I'm gonna say? This car, as spec'd here, is $47,311 drive away. That is a bargain if you ask me. For everything you get, for the adaptive suspension, for the incredible engine, for the amazing exhaust, driving dynamics, relatively good quality interior. The quality of the materials, okay, is not great, but the functionality is superb. And a 5-year warranty, including a 5-year track warranty that runs in parallel. So you can take this car to the track, and if the engine blows up, as long as you haven't over-revved the engine, there is a black box in there, they will replace it. You don't get that on any other car. You just don't. They want you to enjoy this car. But I wouldn't get this one here. I would spend the extra $3,000 and get myself the luxury pack, because in the luxury pack, you get so many more inclusions that you really want. For example, way better leather and suede seats, automatic rain sensing wipers, keyless entry and start, tinted windows, a heated steering wheel, front parking sensors, a wireless charging pad. Literally everything I have wanted in my time of being in this car, you get in that package. It is just unbelievably worth it. And honestly, it would make this car, in my eyes, perfect. So is the i30 Fastback N worth it? Absolutely, every cent. But let me know what you guys think. Do you like the i30 Fastback N? Is it a car you would rather have over the i30N hatchback, or even the Veloster N, which we don't get here in Australia? Or do you rather the Golf GTI, the Honda Civic Type R, the new Ford Focus ST? There is so much competition. I don't think you can beat the value of this car though. You just can't. But anyway guys, if you did enjoy the video, please do go down there and hit the thumbs up button. It really helps the channel out. Subscribe if you are new. I want to have you around this channel. I release a new awesome car review every single week. And comment down below, interact with me. I respond to all of your comments. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next week.